Hello, this is Matt Singer. I'm the arts and culture editor at Willamette Week, and today I'm speaking with Joseph Boquiren. He is a Portland-based illustrator and also is the reigning North American mountain downhill unicycle champion. He was planning on attending the World Championships this year, which are being held in France, but as you can imagine, those plans were scuttled by the pandemic, and we will get into that. But Joseph, I wanted to just kind of start out by asking you, how does one get into competitive unicycling?
That's a really good question. I started competitive unicycling in the local cyclocross races here in Portland, Oregon. There was a unicycle division about 3 or 4 years ago, so I started racing in that division, and I did pretty well. And so I started from there looking at bigger races, and I saw one, the North Americans, being held here in Seattle in 2017. And I raced up there and I did pretty well. And so I've been racing in North Americans ever since, the last 3 years. And so since then, my results have been pretty good. I started looking at the worlds. So it's been kind of like a slow stepping up of my game, so to speak, on one wheel.
But why unicycling?
I just started riding 8 years ago. I'm like, I gotta figure out some way to ride with other people because I was just riding alone. And so cyclocross was one way to get with other people who also rode one wheel, but riding competitively. And I'm kind of have like a really strong competitive streak in me. I've raced speed skates, I've raced bikes for 15 years, and unicycling kind of flowed into the whole competitive thing that I've been doing the whole time as well. So I like the competition aspects of racing on one wheel. Yeah.
I mean, I guess what was the attraction for you, just even as like a form of recreation, as opposed to say bicycling or skateboarding or maybe
Yeah.
something that are a little bit more prevalent in that you see on the streets.
I really enjoyed the skill of staying on one wheel. It was hard. I think it took me about 25 hours to learn to free ride, which is riding without assistance. And so like the challenge of it and taking a long time to simply master basic skills really intrigued me. I like difficult things, like mastering difficult things. So where was I with this one? So kind of just the skills. Once I learned the free ride, I started doing tricks, and then I started looking to different kinds of unicycling. There's many different. Apparently, once you start to learn how to ride a unicycle, you realize there's different disciplines and styles of riding. There's track, there's freestyle, there's flatland, there's cyclocross, there's mountain unicycling, and so all these worlds became available once I realized, wow, there's all different ways of different styles of riding, different cultures. Who knew? But I'm the only writer here in Oregon, the state of Oregon, who does this. So I had to seek out places where people did this in larger groups. And that's the reason I go into competitions, just to meet people who do this sort of thing.
So tell me about becoming the North American unicycle champion in the 50 plus division. So that so when exactly did you win that accolade?
This was in Fort Collins, Colorado, last year, and so it's a lot like downhill skiing. Riders are sent off every 30 seconds, and so you're kind of seated by age group. So I was kind of towards the rear, and so everybody else had left, and so there were like a dozen of us in that age group, and so it's like a 4 mile descent and over 3,000 feet of elevation loss. And it's just a controlled crash going downhill. So like I kept crashing like 3 or 4 times, I guess, but I realized when I got to the finish line that I crashed less than everybody else. So a lot of it is just like managing to stay on through technical terrain, kind of like being able to handle the berms and the jumps and all the. It's an MTB course, man. pretty much a black diamond mountain bike course, and you ride that on one wheel. So there's a lot of, it was a full body workout pretty much, and just managing to kind of like not pass out, because a 4 mile course is a really long distance for being on one wheel. I mean, you're constantly pedaling. Your legs are the brakes. You have to provide steering with your legs, and you kind of need to actually move forward with your legs. So it's exhausting.
So you were planning on going to the World Championships, which are going to be held in
Grenoble.
Grenoble, you said? So how soon were they called off in the pandemic? When were they supposed to happen this year?
It was supposed to happen late July, like it's 2 week period, late July, early August. And I think the racing got called off in June. And so that's when France kind of put its ban on travel, and I had to pretty much cancel all my reservations heading to France, which was kind of a bummer. Yeah, but we received the news from the World Championships that nope, it's not this year. We're postponing it for 2021.
Tell me about that and how that feels. Like how deflating is it to be? You know, I'm assuming you were training for this for a while,
Yeah,
and then to have it kind of knocked out from under you. What is that like?
it was pretty disappointing. It's like I was emotionally ready for it, and to have that not happen, like what am I going to do with my life now in July and August? And so I kind of had to do a reset and realize, you know what, I have another year to get better. So that's what I've been doing since then, is just training, practice, training, practice. So committing to 2021. So it was a mental reset, and then just moving back into the training. Yeah.
How do you train? How are you training right now? Kind of what's your regimen like?
I train on the unicycle about 5 times a week. Each day is a different discipline. So, like today, I'm gonna do flatland and trials at the local elementary school. On Fridays, I do road, which is like speed trials here on Willamette Boulevard, which is pretty dangerous because there's lots of cars everywhere and people coming out of the driveways. Thank God I haven't been wiped out yet by an automobile. But you'll see me there, like going as fast as I can on it. On Saturdays, I go up to Sandy Ridge or any of the mountain bike courses, and I ride the mountain unicycle. And then coming in the fall, hopefully, OBRA is going to start Oregon Mountain Bike Racing Association. We'll start up cyclocross racing once again, and I'll sign up for that to race cyclocross on one wheel. So yeah, I break it down to each date is a different type of discipline that I practice on.
Do you get a lot of questions when you're out in public? I know unicycles are not Portland being Portland.
Yeah.
Usually I see they're not exactly rare, I guess.
Right.
They're not all over the place, but you see them. But you're obviously going a little bit more intense with it. So do people ask you questions when they see you on the streets?
The biggest question I get asked is, do you know the Unipiper?
Of course. Well, I'll ask you, do you know the Unipiper?
No, I've never met Brian. He kind of works in a different circle than I do. He's an entertainer. I'm more of a competitive. I'm more the competitive side. We haven't met. I think unicycles tend to be more like, what would you say, like mountain lions? We kind of very solitary creatures. And every once in a while, once a year, it's rutting season. We all get together. It seems to be the way that works.